So it is Wednesday. I'm having a quick look around the Purfleet stores because I wanted to have a look at what is traditionally done for like heavier dresses in terms of closures at the back, and also how I want to see if I can find some idea of like the petticoat design, because I'm still quite unsure about putting something. I don't know how to sew the bodice part of the petty slip to the ruffles at the bottom if the top half is jersey, because obviously you need to be able to put it on and off, and I can't see a comfortable and easy way of doing that if the top is like cotton. My issue with that is that obviously there needs to be some kind of closure if it's cotton, and that's going to be an issue. With the jersey, I don't know how to sew something that is basically the jersey I've got I think might be quite thin, and isn't going to stitch well to the net or the chiffon underslip that I've got. So I just wanted to have a quick look. The majority of the bigger skirts and dresses here seem to have the netting already sewn in. Obviously that's not going to be particularly practical in terms of washing for mine because it's going to need a lot. I did manage to find on one of the rails there is a dress with a separate petticoat. Obviously it's not the petty slip, but it's just a good thing of like how the ruffles are structured, and also like how they are sort of sewn together, because that was something I was worried about. It seems that they are sewn with a seam on the inside, and then it's just trimmed down, and there's layers of stiff net and tulle, I guess to just make it a bit softer. So that was something that I need to think about when I'm buying my net, is that I need both soft net and like stiffer like ballet net, which is doable, I can do that, and also like it would help me get an idea of the quantity. So here there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers, with 3 of those being soft net and 4 of those being hard net, or stiff net, whatever. So that would help give me an idea, and that gives like that's for like a sort of 1950s style dress, for l'étoile, whatever that is. So that gives sort of like an A-line shape. So that's good to know. Some of the other, like the heavier dresses, they have like it's not net, it's like this mesh. I've seen it in some of the ballet costumes as well. It's like a really thick black like webbing type stuff. I don't know where I could get some of that, but that's good to know that that's a thing. Also how the skirts are attached to some of the heavier dresses, because obviously it's not quite upholstery weight, but that's the kind of thing I'm going to be looking at. So they use cartridge pleating and sort of hand sew the skirts to the bodices, and one of the bodices I found has it has like chain stitches securing the waistband of the skirt to the bodice. So that's also something I could consider, because it means that there's not as all the strain of the weight of the skirt isn't held on the bodice itself or on the shoulders. It's held at the waistband, and then the bodice just fits over it, and the like chain stitches are to sort of keep them together. I've seen something similar with elastic on one of the other costumes in the one of the graduating years made. So that is something I could consider. There's also the puffier sleeves. They have like net inside. Some of them have like a lining to that as well to make it a bit more comfortable to wear, and some of them don't. They just have the net that the ruffles are sewn to. So that's something to keep in mind for the sleeves. I think going forward, I think my options are either to, I think having the skirt and the bodice separate would be a good idea, because the skirt is going to be quite heavy, and the weight for that needs to, oh no, I can't do that then, can I? I can't, because it's not anchored at the waist, it's anchored in the underbust, so it's going to have to be secured to the bodice. There's not really a way that I can make them separate, because it'll just like slip down. There's nothing to anchor it to. What I could do is I could have the petticoat and the skirt as like attached as one, and have all of that sewn to a blouse or like a vest or something that's not stretch, so that would help hold all that together, and the bodice and the apron and waistband for the dress go over the top. So that means that if the weight of the skirt is putting a lot of strain on the shoulder seams, it means it's putting the strain on the under vest structure rather than the bodice of the dress itself. And it means that it would be easier to clean. So that is something I could consider. That does mean, however, that the ruffles for the skirt itself are going to be quite not tight against the body, but they will be, there's a chance that they're going to be visible underneath the bodice if it's not, if the fabric's not distributed properly. So that is also a problem I might come across. I think, thinking about it now, maybe having stretch for the bodice part of the petty slip is not the best idea. It doesn't mean it's easily replaceable, but it also means that it has potential to like stretch out over time, and I'm not 100% sure that the jersey I've got is going to be strong enough. I should have got the other one I was looking at, but that was ribbed and it looked a bit odd. So maybe I can have a look around the studio and see if there's any other jersey that's similar and suitable. If not, then I guess I could try making it out of the cotton I've got, because I have a lot, and just sort of see how it goes. That might be a better idea than trying to wasting time messing around with the jersey. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to make a note of. But yeah, it's tricky, because a lot of the dresses in the store at the moment, if they have the empire waistline, then they are for sort of Regency style things which don't have the petticoats underneath traditionally. But if they are big skirts, then the hem of the bodice is more centered at the actual waistline, so it's easier to anchor the costume and the skirts to it. So I'm sort of at a bit of a loss here. The only other one that I've seen has let me have a look at this one. So it's got it has a higher waistline than normal. It's sort of the Regency, and it has I wouldn't say it's Regency, it's 16th century dresses. Okay, so it has the big puffy sleeves with the netting underneath, and the sleeves themselves are also cartridge pleated to the edge of the dress, which is something else I should keep in mind. It has a quite high waistline on the bodice, and it has big ruffles on like a peplum type thing. So it has, oh god, this is so heavy. Oh, and sorry about that. I need two hands for this, really. God. So it has a lot of skirt, and it has a lot of the peplums have that same black, it's almost like horsehair is the kind of like mesh look to it, but it's got a very big peplum that sits just under the bodice, and it has it's got elastic. It has button elastic in it that attaches to the bodice at about the midpoint, that then buttons onto the skirt itself. So that is also something I could try. I don't know if having a peplum in that kind of way would work with the design I've got. I could potentially do it. The issue I'm having is if I'm going to do like big pleats, they could be box pleats, I suppose, that then lie flatter, or like big pleats in general. So that is something I could potentially play with. It would mean that the sort of big ruffle waves would look slightly different, but it would mean that the waistband would not be, I could have it attached to the bodice in a similar way, but it wouldn't impede I think that's going to be a good way of doing it, is if I have the bodice separate to the skirt, have the button elastic to hold it in place. That also means that it's got a bit of like bounce to it and it's not going to drag too much. There is the issue of like, it's very heavy fabric. It's not quite upholstery weight, it's like a brocade, but it has like the bodice itself has structure to it. It has bones, so I may have to consider boning in my bodice to make sure that it has the rigidity to hold the skirt up. There are, with the button elastic, there are a lot. Like, I've just lifted up the front and there's like 5 strands here that, like, just alone, but I can't get a hand up under the peplum to check, but it does seem that the skirt itself has, I'll take a picture of it, but it's got like quilting that goes down past the peplum to just underneath where the peplum's hemline is, where the rest of the skirt attaches to. So that is also something I could try. That would obviously mean that the petticoat itself would be impeded slightly, because obviously it's a thinner, it's like a narrower silhouette. I think what I need to do is I need to go back and look at, draft out the bodice pattern and figure out what the pattern pieces are going to look like, and then from there try and adapt them to attaching this way. I think that I could get away with a lot being hidden under the waistband of the dress, but also I would be worried that it would be adding too much bulk to a part of the body that is already, I don't want to say already quite wide, but like just under the bust is not as narrow as around the waist, so it's more obvious that, it's more obvious when there's too much fabric down there. So I will do that. I will finish drafting the bodice and see what the shape looks like, and then go from there.